Jordan trying to shake off Starks. Oh, what a move by Jordan! LeBron James with no regard for human life.
Final seconds. Bryant for the win. Iverson against Gill. The crowd on its feet. Allen for the win.
Welcome to the Sneaker History Podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Sneaker History Podcast. It is your host, Mike. Because I'm running the solo show, you guys know what it means. It is a Coffee Time Kicks episode. Yet I was too busy to grab some coffee, so we're just going to act like it's here. But I have a special guest with me today, someone who is no stranger to designing sneakers, customizing sneakers, and done some amazing work. The one and only John Trottier, a.k.a. JohnnysKicks. What is going on, man? How you doing today?
Yeah, man, I'm well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to dive into whatever we got going on. But yeah,
man. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, of course.
Now, I've been asking this to everybody lately as they join me for these episodes, and since I call it Coffee Time Kicks, if you're going out getting coffee or something quick and a little caffeine, what's the shoe you throwing on, man? What you rocking?
Probably my own 3D printed shoes, the JK02s, or probably the Salehi Crocs, honestly. Less shoes and more like comfort at this point. But yeah.
I'm going to start taking a tally because I think probably about 3 or 4 people so far have at least mentioned the Salehi Croc as like, hey, if I'm jumping out, just going to grab a cup of coffee. That's the go-to shoe.
Yeah.
But shoes, all right, so as you know, guys, again, John is a sneaker customizer. He designs his own sneakers as well. Where did it all start for you, man? I mean, clearly you have I see the box of the sneakers behind you, so you have a love for sneakers in general. But where did it all start for you? What was that shoe that got you fall in love and decide, you know what, this is where I want to take my career?
Oh my God. Well, the love of sneakers, Jesus, it started way, way back, probably over 20 years ago with the Iverson 4 was probably the first shoe I fell in love with.
There you go.
I always say, like, Michael Jordan made basketball known, but Iverson made it cool. Mm-hmm. And then when he signed with Reebok, I like the first few silhouettes that he did, but the Iverson 4 was like iconic. Mm-hmm. Actually, I think I have.
See it right up top. Yep, I'm looking right.
So they retroed that about on the 20th anniversary, mm-hmm. and that was the exact colorway that actually made me fall in love with the shoe too. So it's nice. It's just like the fact that they were able to retro it and bring it back, and I had to snag it. But like that was the shoe that like got me in, and then once it released, I think I actually had like every single possible colorway of the shoe when they released. And, I was a military brat, and so we were able to go to the commissary and the BX. And so we were able to get those tax-free and military discounts on it. So every time my mom would go to the grocery store once a month, she would take me there and get me the new pair at the BX. So, it was definitely the thing that got me into actual sneaking. And then, I was an artist my whole life too. Okay. So I actually grew up drawing shoes in like sketchbooks. Yeah. Forever. It's so funny. I have sketchbooks from 25 years ago, and they got the Nike Dunks and mm-hmm. the Jordan 1s and the Jordan 3s, and I would just hand draw them almost like industrial like schematic sketches and awesome stuff. And just did art my entire life. And then I went to college for graphic design and art. And that's when it kind of transitioned from doing hand drawing into digital rendering and doing color blocking and all that stuff. And then social media came out, and then was able to kind of like show off my designs via Instagram, and then it just kind of blew up from there.
That is awesome. Like, when you went to school for graphic design, when did you find out like, hey, you know what, customizing? I'm sure like the mock-ups in the computer, but when it comes to like building that shoe and like materials and things, was that like self-taught or?
Yeah. So, it was really interesting. So it was like when Instagram first launched, I was actually following a ton of sneaker pages. Like I just got huge into like the sneaker side of it. Yeah. And we would see just everyone posting the new release every week. Yeah. And the way the concepting really started was I wanted to like set myself aside from everyone else in a way where I was like, okay, I'm going to take the best on-feet shots from the most professional photographers, like the Perfect Pair and like Andy Diaz and like a lot of the really early like sneaker photographers, because they always got really good engagement. And so I was like, I'm going to take the best shots that they took. I'm going to basically screenshot them or save the shots, and then I'm going to take that shoe and I'm going to put a different color blocking on it through Photoshop or Illustrator or something like that. Yeah. And then I would post it, and a lot of people would just assume it was like a sample or like an unreleased shoe that was going to be coming out soon. And I would get hit up just constantly about trying to purchase it. And at the time, I just didn't know anything about customization. I didn't know anything about like I just always had to tell him there was like a digital concept rendering.
Yeah.
And then, lo and behold, then I started seeing actual customizers coming out. So it was like really in the early days with like Mosh doing the painting.
Yeah.
But also JBF, the Surgeon, like all of these guys really being at the forefront of like taking, Mosh with the painting side, but then JBF and Surgeon with really reconstructing, and even him like doing the first like early like misplaced checks with John Geiger and doing all this other stuff. And I actually had like a really, really unique opportunity back in like 2016. Actually moved to LA, and I was the first executive assistant to the Surgeon.
Cool.
Which was like a really interesting. Obviously, what's going on with him was really interesting, but I was able to work under him and basically learn everything there was to know about like reconstruction, design, sourcing, fully making shoes from scratch, and then left there, and then I actually went back to DC. Around 2018, 2019, and then COVID hit, and we all got locked down. And I, again, still never really knew how to make shoes. And so actually the biggest misconception about me is that I actually hand make shoes. So like I was actually I invented a position within the customization space. I'm the only customizer that doesn't customize. So what I do is I'm a designer at heart. Almost like Pharrell says, it's like I don't design anything. I'm a curator of taste.
Yeah.
In a way where it's like I am a designer. I don't physically make or paint shoes. So what I do is I just hand it to all of my best friends who just happen to be the best shoemakers in the world, and then we co-collaborate on shoes to make me look really good, because that's something that they always love to do, but they don't like the design. They don't like to really like have to deal with corporate contracts, or they don't want to deal with people or the DMs, or they just like, oh, here's an actual design. All I have to do is just replicate it, and all I have to do is make the shoe, and that's it. And so basically 2020 came around, and I basically started handing my designs to pretty much every customizer in the entire space to kind of test it. Like all the ones that I've been friends with and all the ones that I respected. Then, my first shoe that I ever actually ended up dropping was the Ben & Jerry Sakai. Okay. Which was like almost like a storm in a way, because the Ben & Jerry probably is one of the most iconic shoes in the last decade.
Most definitely.
To drop, as far as like bringing outside influence, and like my grandmother or like my aunt, my dad, my sister, people that just don't know anything about sneakers were sending me these articles about the Ben & Jerry Dunks. Yep. Probably, I mean, it was just one of those impossible shoes to get. It was like a $2,000+ resale. Yeah. Obviously with COVID, like the resale market was just skyrocketing, and then I did the Ben & Jerry's, and then the next shoe was actually the Yellow Lobster. Air Jordan 1. But a big reason why I actually even started this, I didn't even know I could do this, honestly. I think it even goes back to like the premise of I actually ended up doing a Yellow Lobster concept, and then Dion Point. Yeah. If anybody doesn't know, Dion Point is the iconic creative director behind Concepts. He was actually the guy who created the Lobster series with the brand, and he actually ended up DMing me because he ended up posting my concept on his story. Oh, dope. And within about 2 hours, he got about 400 DMs asking if it was going to come out, because it was a Jordan 1 instead of a Dunk. And he said, I don't care what you have to do, you have to make that shoe. Just do it. And then the very next day, I ended up getting on a FaceTime. During COVID, if anyone was around, like Spaces, or Instagram Live was like a huge thing. Yes. And I was like living on it like 4 hours a day because I had nowhere else to go. And I ended up getting on a live with C's out in New York, who's like this shoemaker out in New York. And he said, yo, is there any way I could make that shoe for you? Not even thinking like, oh, yeah, like I'm going to have like some of my concepts made physically. And I was like, you know what? I didn't even think about that. But yeah, that would be amazing if you could make that shoe. And I didn't actually have the money to make these shoes. My money was really tight. I was like I was working at a moving company at the time. And I was just like, okay, well, how am I going to pay for this and everything like that? And then my sister, who was actually a really genius business person, said, why don't you start a GoFundMe? Oh, there you go. She was like, you have a ton of following. I had around 150,000 followers at the time. And she was like, you have a lot of these followers. Everyone's been asking you to like make these, customs. I started a GoFundMe, and I basically raised $7,000 in about a day and a half. Oh, jeez. Just basically saying, it is my dream to be a customizer and one of the biggest customizers in the world, and basically a full-time designer. Yeah. I took that $7,000 and I basically handed it to like, I think 6 or 7 different customizers. Okay. To like make the samples of these shoes. Yeah. One of them was the Ben & Jerry's. The other one was the Yellow Lobster. Yeah. Another one was like a What the Dunk. Another one was like a Freddy Krueger Sakai. And it was just like the list goes on. And I just happened to sell at every single release, I think, for a half a year.
Oh, wow.
Which was insane. It's like I had never even attempted to try to sell a shoe. And then all of a sudden, it was just 15 pairs, 20 pairs, 10 pairs, 15 pairs. Because I would always work with the customizer to be like, how much volume can you actually do?
Yeah.
Like, a justified period of time where my clients aren't waiting like forever for the shoes, but like also not burdening you to the point where it's like you just can't do anything else.
For sure.
Right. And so we were trying to figure out what their volume was. And for each customizer, it was different. And then it just went on. After about 3 weeks, I quit my full-time job as a mover and then just like dove into this. And here I am over 5 years later.
That's awesome.
So that's kind of like the origin story about like how the whole custom thing.
That's cool. I didn't even realize that. So that's pretty cool. I think people, when they hear like, so they don't realize that designer doesn't necessarily mean the person who's actually like say building a shoe. You have a awesome like way of doing it. It's like, hey, I know what I'm good at. I don't have time to learn this skill so much, but I can imagine, I can create, and I know the proper channels to get it built in a quality fashion. So I like that because a lot of times everyone's trying to do it themselves, and that can, like you say, talk about volume, it gets, especially in the beginning, backed up, but you find a way to provide the service, but then also elevate other people in the process. Like, hey, I'm getting business. You're kind of spreading the wealth in a sense because you're getting those people you trust to build them and getting their name out there as well.
That's exactly. I mean, it was almost like a perfect storm because like the custom sneaker ecosystem is so small in a way where it was like every customizer saw what I was doing with all the other customizers.
Yeah.
And I was just posting sold out. And then again, word of mouth.
Yeah.
And then like every customizer in the entire industry from Mosh all the way down that I respected for years.
Yeah.
Like they were hitting me up being like, yo, are you doing this concept? Have you done this concept? Have you done this concept? Like, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this?
That's so cool.
It was almost like me just being able to work with every customizer that was like top tier, like AAA quality. Like if you name them, I worked with them. And it was like being able to test, like, yeah, it was awesome. Because then I was taking the sample for myself, was able to market it through photography and, you know, my social media, keep the sample, and then basically get it for free because I was selling, you know, X amount of pairs to everyone else.
Yeah.
So I basically turned my passion, and all the money that I would ever spend was on sneakers. And so I basically turned every concept into a free shoe and then made a business out of it. And then, like you said, elevating every customizer along the way.
Yeah. That's the way to do it, man. I love that. That's such a cool concept. And actually, gosh, it's been 2, maybe 3 weeks. I actually had Mosh on the show with me, and it's funny. You guys, I mean, of course, with the customs, but you guys also have something in common of running your own, like building your own silhouettes, which I think is insane to do. I mean, I know you're doing it on the 3D printed side of things, and how are you able to, I guess, balance the business? That was something I asked Mosh as well. Just how are you able to balance the business of those incoming inquiries and requests for the customs, but then also, hey, I'm working on my own, like, pure design. Like I started from scratch. So how are you able to find, like, because walk that line?
Yeah, no, it's hard for sure. It's a lot of work. Because a lot of the things, I'm also working as a creative director and like a head of design for 2 other brands.
Oh, just added to the business card. It's rolling out now.
yeah. And so, and they're like, they haven't even entered the market quite yet.
Yeah.
And so like, I'm basically being responsible for like the entire ethos and brand identity of the brands.
Yeah.
One is iconic, honestly, and then one is like started by an icon. So I can get into that a little bit. But yeah balancing, like, I think I've always knew that, you know, customs was going to last so long. And, you know, for me, like I love doing color blocking and color and material choosing.
Yeah.
But then obviously, as you've seen what Nike is doing with customizers, and instead of like honing them in, they're trying to sue everyone.
Yeah, which is wild.
Is like, it's really kind of sad to see, where it's like, instead of like utilizing us and doing initiatives like they did with Sean Wotherspoon and like doing design contests and doing like, and almost elevating people, they either kind of like steal ideas or they just try to sue them in a way, which is really kind of sad. I realized at some point I wanted to just transition into doing like grand volume as well as doing retail pairs.
Okay.
So it's like that's really the biggest thing is 99.999% of all the people in my life have never been able to support my brand because the cost of my shoes are so expensive. Right? It's like the average cost of one of my shoes is over $2,000.
Oh,
and so it's like, you know, yeah, exactly. So when people see my customs, you know, I get well over 2, 3, 4, 500 DMs a day, honestly, with people asking and inquiring. But conversion rate is less than 1%, right? Because it's like just most people cannot justify an expense like that. And I understood that, and it was loud and clear to me that so many people wanted my product, but then couldn't actually justifiably afford it.
Yeah.
For one, and I completely understand. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to take every advantage, almost like looking at my icons, like a Jeff Staples or like somebody like that, where they're always staying ahead of the curve and always like never shying away. And especially Takashi Murakami, like he's like a legend to me in a way. And I always said, if I can be here as long as he has and do what he does, but he stays really on the forefront of everything. But in retail, I think that was where I was like, let me get something in the market with retail.
Okay.
And so whether that's, and I just happen to be friends with Zellerfeld, or Cornelius, who like runs Zellerfeld.
Oh, okay.
I've known him for 7 years, and he ended up reaching out to me right when he started the company. And after he got his first investment, and like they were kind of growing after, getting a couple of corporate contracts. And he said, I really want you to have a silhouette under me. And like, we can produce it and everything like that. And so, again, I know what I know, and I end up getting one of the best 3D designers in the world. His name is Tom Humphreys.
Okay.
He's out of the UK, and he's basically 3D modeled every one of my shoes.
Oh,
so
cool.
I come up with the design process. I come up with the overarching theme. I'll do kind of like what Kanye does, utilizing Kanye's idea with like Stephen Smith's like design background.
Yeah.
Where it's like, Kanye's got the idea, but then Stephen Smith puts it into AutoCAD and is able to like
bring it
make
to
it
life.
like I'm bringing an actual life to a physical shoe. And so, like, I basically do the same thing with Zellerfeld, where I'm able to come up with the exact theme and style of a shoe that I want, and then I have my 3D modeler actually model it to be able to submit it for print.
Oh,
and
cool.
Then,
okay.
And so, yeah, again, it's knowing my lane, understanding, and then having a good team around me to take it to the finish line. So that's on the 3D printed side. And then, for the other two brands, the first one is Von Grach. So Von Grach, if anyone doesn't know, it was actually the company that was actually going to take Jordan away from Jordan Brand after the two.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So Von Grach was started by Peter Moore.
Okay.
Peter Moore was the guy who designed the Jordan 1. Yep. He also invented Air Jordan, did the Jordan logo. He also brought Adidas to America. He was the guy who signed Kobe to Adidas. And he started his own brand called Von Grach. And so, like Mutombo was his first actual like signed basketball player.
Okay.
We actually have his retros retroing now, which is awesome.
Very cool.
Working on designs for his retro basketball shoe and everything like that. But Yankee Kicks, I partnered up with Yankee Kicks back in 2020 as his creative director. And he ended up acquiring Von Grach from the Peter Moore's estate.
Really?
Yes. And so he's owned it for roughly around 4 years now, or 5 years now. And I've basically been working on 12 silhouettes, well over 800 colorways for that brand over the last 3.5 years. So I got signed as the creative director and head of design for Von Grach about 3 years ago. Again, we haven't gone anywhere into the market yet. We've just done just sampling. I've done the design process for the boxing and the packaging and the labels. Like pretty much all you need to do for the footwear side, I've pretty much designed.
Yeah.
Now it's just figuring out how to actually organically enter the space. And then I just got recently signed to be the head of footwear design for Palm Angels. So
you are absolutely busy, sir.
It's a full load. It's a full load. So, but I'm doing everything that I love to do, which is designing. I do everything that I actually want to do. So it's like with those two companies, we have manufacturing, we have facilities, we have a team to really kind of focus on like the business side of it. And all that. I just have to focus on like really color blocking, material choice, and then storytelling. And then with my 3D printed shoes, it's really about like having the 3D printed shoes, but then they're going to actually transition into full color, which I'm really excited about because that's never been a possibility. And so I've been teasing people like a lot of like the different colorways that I'm going to be dropping in the future. And so we're going to start with paint, but then they're actually working on the printing process to be able to do full color. So I can actually treat my 3D printed shoes like physical releases where we can actually do like full drops, full collaborations, brand collaborations. And because it's 3D printed, we can go in, change the logos, change the traction pattern within a couple of hours and then print a new shoe. And then all of a sudden we have a brand new collaboration without having to go to the
like
factory
and
to get all this and other stuff done. It's like I can put on a full company's logo on the bottom of the shoe and 20 minutes, right? And then put their logos on, change the entire upper of the shoe, reskin it, and then print it out with the sample in 2 days.
That's the thing. Like when it comes to 3D printing now, is like I say, it's such a when you know what you're doing, the ability to really shift gears when need be is just like that now, as opposed to, like I say, build and last, having to, create these. I mean, of course you still create samples, but creating one sample in this shoe you're trying to, build from the, the rubber, the leather, all that stuff is so time consuming, as opposed to, all right, cool, we want this, this, and this, let's print them, X amount of time for that. And you have a couple things you can work with, and I like that one, tweak this, this, and that just in a computer. Yeah. I feel like it's the future. I mean, I know we're still going to have traditional sneakers and traditional shoes, but it's really cool to see that we'll have this whole different category that's, I feel like we're just kind of the tip of the iceberg at right now with different brands like yourself. On that, it's almost just, it's mind-blowing to see what can be done of creativity, because with these 3D printed models we're getting, from normal kind of looking to like extreme, like this alien look, there's so many things that can be done with 3D printing. And do you feel like that's going to open up the creativity, like vault within you more? Is like, hey, I'm not constricted by materials. Now I can kind of just shoot for the stars at what I want to bring out?
Yeah. What I've actually learned, which is really sad, is like, as a designer and as a creative, like you have a lot of ideas in your mind, but then you also have to be a business mind and understand a lot of this costs money. And you're like, what's going to sell?
Yeah.
Like what's actually going to translate to like purchases? Right. It's almost like the customization spot. This is why almost every customizer just focuses on a Jordan 1. When it's like, especially if you're in recon, I mean, just the cost of like developing a full size run of last and patterns, that's like $10,000 just for like a Jordan 1. And even though it's not even your silhouette. Right. And so it's like, and that's why it's like we've kind of found our special lane in a way where we've developed just under Nike. I think we've developed like 15 silhouettes, right? And so it's like we're able to do Sakai's and Air Maxes and Jordan 1s and Jordan 11s and damn near anything we want, right? And it's like we figured out like a way to do it. But yeah, it's like you see these crazy designs on Zellerfeld and you're like, yeah, you can go as absolutely crazy as you want. I mean, I got some behind me that are just absolutely insane. That like Artifact dropped, like, I'll just give you an example. Like this was like their last shoe before they got, dropped by Nike, right? And it was this
that thing is
like,
nuts.
Undead thing, but they got their big old logo here on the track. Yeah. They got this huge like toothed ribbing and all this stuff. So it's like, I mean, this is a size 11. You can imagine how big it is. But it's like you can go as crazy or as simple as you want. So, I mean, this is like my one of my shoes, like very clean, very simple.
Yeah. I like that. Like
aesthetically to the foot, just super clean, something that you can wear every single day. And this is the shoe that like I wear to the grocery store, just like hang out in. And the comfort factor I think is really cool. Just knowing that I've been in footwear and like manufacturing for a really long time, knowing that the material that they're using with this recyclable TPU, it's so incredibly soft, where it's like, but it's not too soft. Based off the sole thickness that you design it, this is all, through design processing and everything like that. But depending on how thick or thin your sole is, like you can really get it to that perfect mixture where it's like you can just stand on your feet for 15 hours a day and have no lower extremity issues.
That blew my mind. That absolutely blew my mind, because I, again, thinking like, TPU, I know it's like harder, like meant to like just be protective kind of. Man, I blew my mind when I put my foot into a 3D printed slide, and it was from Zellerfeld, of course. It's so dang soft.
I mean, when people like want to talk about just like the flexibility or the softness, it just bounces right back into place. But again, it's just like I think people have this misconception with 3D printed shoes that they're hard, or they're like plasticky. When really it's like this really matte, like almost like it almost feels like rubbery in a way, but it's like. It's super flexible to the point where it's like, I mean, and it just bounces right back into place. So it's just, I think that's just the thing. It's just like a huge misconception. When you looked at the original like Adidas 4D shoes and everything like that, it was like really stiff and not very comfortable. But depending on like the thickness of the sole, this took almost, it's so funny, as simple as this looks, this almost took a year to develop, only because I wanted to be able to have a shoe that I could eventually license to like airlines or hospitals.
Oh, I got you. Makes sense.
Something like that, where it's like everyone is required to wear like a black shoe. But most people in the service industry, they're always suffering from hip, knee, back, shin problems.
Yeah.
This I can wear for 12 hours a day on feet, go around an entire convention center, stand on my feet, never even sit down, and it doesn't even feel like I walked for like
awesome.
half an hour. So yeah, it's all things you learn throughout the design process. But yeah, it's awesome to see like you can create anything you want.
Most definitely. So when we talk about like bigger brands like Adidas, who started the 4D some time back, and I'm a testament to like when I got my first pair of 4Ds, it was super stiff. I was like, man, there's no way I can wear this all day. Their just process is different because I haven't tried. I know they have a new that Clima Cool, that 4D, the fully 4D printed shoe or 4D shoe or 3D printed shoe, whatever they want to call it. Is it actually 3D printed, or are they doing a different process than what you guys are doing?
They're doing liquid resin printing. Okay. So it's just like instead of like coming from a spool of TPU, it actually comes from a pool of liquid resin.
Okay.
The problem with that is it's extremely toxic.
Oh.
Yeah, it's extremely toxic, and so it's like if you're wearing it like barefooted, for instance, like that, like the chemicals are like seeping into your skin. It's like it's not the best material to try. Like, so that's where it gets a little goofy. Like we tested like polymers because it's made out of a polymer, like a liquid resin polymer. And so we even did, like I said, like I showed you before we hopped on, but like we did these back in like 2016, which is very funny because it looks very similar to the Climacools that just released 10 years later. And again, it's a nice flexible shoe. You can wear it in the ocean and everything like that. But we didn't really release these to the public because of the materials and like kind of like the toxicity levels of like what they actually put out into the environment and everything like that. These like are fully recyclable. These have no chemicals. They have no they got no odor, no nothing. So it was like you almost have to like take that into consideration when you're also going into manufacturing and everything like that. It's interesting through production processes.
Yeah, I see. I had never heard that before. This is the first time that ever been brought up. So I really do wonder, like, you know, what's the acceptable level? You know, like all things that are out, there's like this acceptable level of crap that can be in it. You know, like, oh, okay, it's not going to kill you if you wear. So with some of these bigger companies doing the 3D printed shoes, but Nike, of course, they're Air Max 1000s with ZLFL, so clearly they've worked it all out. But with Adidas, I wonder if there is just some kind of, would it guess be EPA, like, hey, you can go X amount of levels of this in your shoe that you can still sell it, that they're having to abide by, because this is the first time. This is really like mind-blowing me because I didn't realize that process had any kind of toxic effect.
I think to the day-to-day person, it's not really going to affect them too much. I think it's like just the whole manufacturing process. Like the people in the factory that are manufacturing.
Oh man, I didn't think about that either.
You know, it's not really good. You know, it's it's not the best material choice. I think that's where it's like ZLFL set themselves aside, where it's like they invented their own machines, but then they've been like continually upgrade. So we get literally emails from them like every 2 weeks.
Oh wow!
It's literally like we've upgraded this, we've upgraded this, we've upgraded this, we've updated this. It's like almost impossible to keep up with them right now. Yeah, because they're in such a fast growth phase where it's like once they got investors, like if you don't know, like some of their first investors were like Elon Musk and Peter Thiel.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I know that.
And so like they had like angel investors of like magnitude at the beginning, and then now they just signed like a multi-year deal with Nike, and now they're working with just massive brands to expand from like 250 printers to 5,000. They're going from Hamburg, Germany to now they just closed a factory in Austin, Texas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they'll be actually moving to the United States, I think, early next year, which is amazing for me because I'm out here in Dallas.
See, I'm in Houston. I need to call. I want to get a tour now.
No, I think exactly right. And so they're going to expand greatly, which is also a huge thing too. It's like their printing process used to take 6 to 8 months. Now it's getting down to 2 weeks.
Oh,
right. And so like soon it'll be like an everyday thing.
Yeah.
Where eventually they just want to get to be almost like the YouTube of sneakers.
Just pumping them out. Like anybody can join in. I know it's a lot of one of those things. Is like, you know, they want to give chances to like say creators who have ideas to be able to actually create a shoe and not go through so much red tape. That is definitely something I think is going to go a long way because so many people have different ideas but can't or don't have the opportunity to jump in with those bigger brands.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's crazy to see like what brands are actually working on samples with ZLFL right now. It's like the biggest brands in the entire world. Like I think after Nike hopped in, because ZLFL is just a manufacturer, like anyone can get in. Like any normal everyday person can just submit a design and have their own brand overnight.
That's so cool.
Because there's no overhead. Like I think that's the beautiful thing. I think when you were talking to Ben, it's like he was explaining maybe a little bit, but it's like, yeah, I mean, if you have a 3D design, like, and you're able to have it molded, because they go through like a 20 or 25 point like inspection to make sure it's actually printable. But then once those passes those like 3D modeling like ticks, you're good to go. Like you pay like 100.
Wow.
They just lower their sample cost honestly from $100 or $240 down to $150. And so you literally like submit, like you could literally submit a shoe tomorrow.
Are you serious?
Submit it.
$150 to get a sample created from them?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. All you need to do is submit the 3D file. So you can literally just seek out like on Fiverr or something like that. Like how get like design this 3D model for me.
Yeah.
Right. Get the 3D model, and then their team also has in-house like the engineers that can help you get it over the finish line.
Oh wow.
And then all of a sudden you just say, "Cool, submit." You get the sample. Make sure it's perfect. If it's not, you're like, I need to change this or change that or change this. Perfect. Print another sample. Get the sample in, and then all of a sudden, all you have to do is get a link, start promoting it.
That's insane. I did not know that.
You don't have to ship. You don't have to manufacture. They ship it directly to your client for you. You have a user portal on the website, so it tells you what silhouette was ordered and what color was ordered. And then basically at the end of every quarter, you just get a wire transfer for your profit of the shoe. So it's like, it's basically, and they really want to be like the YouTube in a way where it's like you can just upload a new shoe every day.
That's wild because that changed the game completely. And especially like, I mean, I know we're just in the early stages of 3D printing, but once we start getting into things like, let's say we get to the point of getting performance sneakers out there, like hoop shoes or whatever it may be.
Well, they want to be the first 3D printed shoe to be in the Olympics. So it's like, I know like they're working on it like right now. So it's like, especially with Nike signing to them, being like a performance led brand.
Yeah.
Like they did the Air Max 1000, but I've already seen a sample for their next shoe. And it's elevating, right? And so they're just going to keep going and keep going and keep going. And, you know, guys like me just have kind of like I was the first person to ever do a fully colored 3D printed shoe, which I posted yesterday, which is the Air Max 1000 in color. And
that's so cool.
I wanted to do it on a Nike because I knew Nike was moving that way.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I got the sample from ComplexCon. Let me just do this real quick. And then, but it's just showing people this is the next evolution in 3D printing where it's going to go from solid colors to being able to do a million colors because they're switching from a single spool of TPU to going to pellets. So imagine all the pellets that you see on like AstroTurf.
Yeah.
It's basically going to be like individualized pellets. And so you can literally print a shoe like a traditional sneaker. That's why you're seeing me do the color blocking, where you're seeing me like already ramping up like colorways on my new sneaker silhouette. So I designed something that was very much in line with what's hot right now in the market, which is like heavily paneled runners. Yeah. So I was like, because when you really look at Zellerfeld shoes, most of them are very futuristic or they're very simple, very like, or based off of some other silhouette that's already in the market. And for me, I wanted to design the first actual sneaker that can actually be color blocked when the printers are ready for it. And taking basically my customization background as doing a color specialist and a material specialist and just start cranking out a new shoe every week. And I can start doing collaborations with big brands or individuals or customizers or whatever. I just say, let's just submit it. We'll market it. And then whatever sales come, what I love about it is we don't have to make any like minimum order requirements of 500 pairs from a factory. Sit on them and warehouse them and do everything like that. It's like, no, if we can only sell 3 pairs, we sell 3 pairs. If we sell 300 pairs, we sell 300 pairs.
That's so cool. That's like such a game changer, especially like you say, once you get to being able to do that the color blocking and just the things you'll be able to do, like the layering with that is going to be, man. I think that's what we're waiting for sneakers. I mean, we all love our shoes, our classics out there, but I feel like some things that I feel like we're kind of getting a little stagnant with newer things out. You know, there's only so much that can be done with, you know, the things we have and make them wearable. You know, you can be off the wall crazy, but is it actually wearable? But with this 3D printing, I think this is that new thing that we've been looking for in sneakers that get us out of this kind of rut of only retros. I mean, we all appreciate the retros and the old things, but I think that get excited, a different kind of excitement other than just a collaboration. Like, oh, this is built this way and I can do this with it. I think once all that's up and running, like you say, the colorways we're going to be getting, like true colorways instead of just solid, I think that is going to be a huge, huge thing for the sneaker industry as a whole and just getting excitement back into the industry.
Yeah. No, I agree. And even as a customizer, it's awesome to be like, all right, I can drop a collaboration with somebody that might have never even thought they would ever have a shoe. Like I could drop a collaboration with you. Yeah. And then you drop it to your audience, right? And then all of a sudden it's like whether we sell 1 pair, 10 pairs, 15 pairs, it doesn't really matter because there's no overhead on it. It's really like, all right, you pay for a sample so you can have your first sample ever of your own shoe colorway. And then all of a sudden it's like without having to go through any of the processes whatsoever, you will now have your own shoe. And then it doesn't really take any skin off my back. All of a sudden, it's like, you paid for the sample, you have it in hand, it's your colorway. Now we drop it. And so it's like, now, like, you don't actually have to be this massive celebrity or invest all of this money, where it's like, it could be sneaker influencers or reviewers or photographers. And I have so many of my friends in the industry that I'm like, deserve like some form of a collaboration because they're so ingrained within like the community.
Yeah.
But they'll never get a chance with one of the big brands. And so I'm like, well, shit, if like we can get to this color blocking thing, I can reach out to some of my best friends that have never even thought about ever being able to have their own shoe and being like, yo, let's drop your own colorway.
Yep.
And you have a big following on Instagram. Like, you never got an official collaboration with anyone. Let's
do it
on mine.
Yeah.
Right? And then all of a sudden now you can say you have your own designed colorway that you worked with me on. And now we can roll it out to your entire audience.
That's awesome, because the only brand I ever saw that did that, God, it had to be probably maybe like 10 years ago, was Saucony did it with like the creative...
T2 Wild and like all those guys. Yeah,
they did that, but then no other brand ever followed up with that to do it. I mean, these are the people pushing the shoes every day on you, like say YouTube. Like, it's just like you get all this free advertisement basically, unless you're contracted with them. But in most cases, it's free advertisement with this shoe, and now those people can go in and say, you know what? I want to do something myself. Like, I want to work with Johnny. I want to work with Zellerfeld and like create something that is important to me that I've started from scratch. And that's so cool. It just blows my mind, because the landscape of sneakers, and I even say, I mean, probably sooner than this, but I say 10 years is going to be completely different, because that technology is going to be out of hand, like just crazy in the next 10 years, where you're going to be creating like just like that. Just literally snap of a finger, you're going to have something ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. No, it's amazing to be a part of. Just knowing that we were there from the very beginning and seeing the process go from like the roughest 3D printed shoes, like, not very comfortable. It's like where we're at today, where now like you're doing full like solid paneling on shoes mixed with meshes, being able to do panels, and then knowing that they're moving to color. It's like just being part of the whole evolution of the company. Yeah. And knowing where they're already going. And then now seeing, I kind of view Zellerfeld as crypto in a way. Yeah. Where it was like a bottom up approach, where it started with like retail and investors and like all this stuff. And then it got moved up to like, you know, corporations and then like governments and states and shit like that. I think that's kind of what Zellerfeld is doing. It's like started with like the Heron Prestons and like myself.
It makes
and,
sense.
Like, handful of these guys that were just in Discord to like being like, you know, we're just designers that want to have our own thing, and we'll be the test rats really within like the cog, and then I feel like they work out all the kinks, and then as their engineers evolve, like now Nike hops on, then they're proving proof of concept, and now it's like you got Timberland working on it, and Vans that haven't released any of their stuff yet, and so, and seeing the samples in these, it's nuts, right? Seeing these massive brands, and like that's just the beginning. And then you're just going to start seeing more and more. But then obviously you're seeing like individual creators like Jeff Staples, and I think Seth Fowler just, you know, got his own mule out. And,
I know he did one. I knew Staples did. I knew, of course, Sean.
Sean just dropped his. I know Seth hasn't dropped his yet. I know he's waiting on like to figure out his release on it and everything like that. But even individual YouTubers, you know, from Seth, you know, I know he was a product developer and designer in college, but you know, he was like, I need my own shoe, and this gives me the opportunity without having to spend $100,000 on traditional manufacturing, MOQ, warehousing, shipping. And if you don't sell the shoe, you're stuck with it. Right? So it just opens the door for independent, smaller brands that just don't have to worry about over.
That's so cool. So do you ever see yourself, I mean, as the progression of technology, being able to, you know, of course you can order from Zellerfeld, order from your website, but you ever see yourself being able to have it produced enough where you have a storefront and say, hey, I got these ready to go, have size runs that I can put in a brick and mortar and have people actually try them on and things like that? I know right now it's more of a, hey, let's measure your foot through this app. Make sure we get the right, you know, dimensions and measurements. Do you see it making a turn for the brick and mortar, or I guess?
Yeah, so we actually did Zellerfeld just closed on their first storefront. Our shoes are actually in Soulbox.
Oh, okay.
Out in Europe.
Yeah.
They just launched their activation literally like 5 days ago.
Oh, dope.
And then me being fortunate enough to be best friends with JohnnysKicks.
Yeah.
He's like damn near my brother at this point.
That's awesome.
And him having his stores. And just seeing the landscape of sneakers and resale and everything like that, we're really transitioning to being like a consignment store to being like the next like high end Foot Locker in a way where we're going to combine basically Louis Vuitton, consignment stores, and Foot Locker. And so we're going to have like VIP rooms. We're going to have the luxury experience, like a massive amount of shoes, but then we're also going to have like the rare shoes you literally can't find, plus all the retail shoes, but also having the door to having these retail stores for my own product, right?
Oh, that's so dope.
Like because he's tied with Von Brock, we've also been tied in with Palm Angels, as well as me being on the Zellerfeld side. Anytime I ever want my stuff in a physical location like Yankee Kicks, and we have 2 stores now, but we're moving and going to expand into 10, 20, 30 stores globally over the next 20 years. And so
Yeah.
and these are going to be in like the biggest fashion cities in the world. And so it's like just knowing, again, future growth patterns and just being patient, but then understanding what's coming and being prepared for it. That's definitely a plan for sure.
So
I think, yeah. And then doing activations within the stores, using the physical stores as actual pop-ups and all this other stuff. We always do something at the Miami store for Miami Art Basel, which we're doing again this year with Palm Angels, which is going to be exciting.
No, Yankee Kicks, they're based on New York, right?
Their first store was in Miami, opened in 2020, and then we opened the Manhattan store at the end of 2023.
I saw it. I didn't get a chance to go. My wife and I went to New York a couple of weeks ago, or about a month or so ago, and I saw it. I just was didn't have enough time to pop in. But I know you're in Dallas. Do you just kind of make the commute back and forth, or okay?
Yeah, because again, with what I do, I'm a digital artist and designer, and then I know all the manufacturing, and so pretty much I'll just show up when we have activations or this and that and the other. I'm not having to be privy to like the day-to-day business operations. For sure. But it's like if we have an event, I can put creative input into it and everything like that. And then I just kind of create whatever we want a centerpiece, whether that's toys, collectibles, shoes. Like I pretty much design everything at this point. So it's fun to be able to touch other things. Besides sneakers, I really only promote what I'm doing with sneakers, but I've been able to do cars and toys and watches and all kinds of other cool products too.
That's so cool. Just the creative aspect of what you do. You're not limited to just one thing. It's like you're not just you love shoes, love sneakers, but you don't have to have the blinders on. You can just do all these other things. It's really, really cool. I mean, of course, again, you stay busy with all the things that's under your belt right now, but you get to really express your creativity and, like you say, not having to worry about the day-to-day so much, which I'm sure is relieving knowing that you can live in just the design world.
Yeah, I do everything like on the business side and everything to do with like the financials and all that stuff for my own brand for JohnnysKicks.
Yeah.
I think that's enough for me.
I don't do any more of that.
Yeah, it's like JohnnysKicks, but like, because I had to learn all that from scratch too. And so like that was something I didn't really mention too. Like when you're starting this whole thing and you're starting a business, it's like, getting CPAs and, getting an EIN and, setting up business like accounts and all of this stuff. It's like, filing your taxes, all the proper stuff to keep a business running. It's like that's all stuff you just learn, and you got to learn yourself as well. So it's like it's not just fun and design and sneakers, but it's also like you gotta. But it's something that I'm blessed to have been able to learn and keep running with. So
dude, that's awesome. Just hearing like your entire like how it started, how it's going is incredible, man. Like you're in the forefront is like just again the future of what is going to be sneakers in the next 5, 10, 15 years. And I mean, you got to feel some sense of pride, I'm sure, just being in the beginning of that and knowing that when I talk about early adopters, I mean, you made like the first adopters, like one of the early ones to be able to say, hey, this is where it's going to go. I mean, for, no pun intended, but you definitely go down in, sneaker history for that, and just people will look back and say, hey, this is how it started. They can look at you and your accomplishments and your contributions, and it's definitely going to be something that to be applauded. I can guarantee that.
I appreciate it, dude. I'm just I always tell people, man, I get to live a dream every day. I found my passion, and I felt like I would do this for free every single day of my life.
Yeah.
I was for 8 years. I think another thing that I didn't really mention was like the design side of it. I went to design school. Like I got a design, an art degree and everything like that. And even drawing shoes in my notebook, right? I was hardcore designing and posting on Instagram for 8 years. Built 150,000 followers before I even considered even selling a shoe.
Yeah.
Never thought anyone would actually buy a shoe, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
So it's like I was really blessed to like not feel like, okay, I have to start a business now. How do I do it?
Yeah.
It was more like I fell into it head first, where I was like, I'd already built and done all this work leading up for years while I had a full-time job and was, got the experience from, LA and working for the surgeon and seeing that whole side So I didn't know where it was going to lead, honestly. And then working physical labor jobs, 60 hours, so 70, 80 hours a week, not, and then getting off of work after a 15, 16-hour physical labor shift and designing a shoe so I could post it on Instagram the next day. But I was like, that was my happy time. Like designing that sneaker at midnight before I went to bed to wake up at 5 o'clock the next morning to be able to post at 9 a.m. like religiously.
Yep.
I was like, that hour where I was designing the shoe, when I finished the shoe and saved it as the PNG, and then I was able to send it to my phone, I was like, man, look at what I just created.
That's
I wish
awesome.
this was a physical shoe that I could put it on my foot.
Yeah.
And then eventually, like, I had like a stockpile of just hundreds of shoes. And then I was like, sweet, I can just make my dream collection now.
Yeah, man.
It's cool to be seeing every aspect of it, honestly, from customs to traditional footwear to 3D printed shoes. If it's got anything to do with shoes, like I've tried to touch it in some way, shape, or form, but just because I love it so much.
No, and that's awesome. And that's if anybody listening to this episode, anybody who's trying to get into, I mean, not just sneakers or anything, I hope they like really keyed in on that part you said. Is like, I did this for free for 8 years. Like, I would just worked into perfecting my craft. It wasn't like, all right, I gave up on my job, I'm gonna just eat. Well, maybe not eat until I get this right, but you did it right. You kept your job, you gotta keep living, but you just used the extra time that you had to build, and it eventually came into where you could transition to that full time. So I know a lot of people, there's a misconception of like, oh, I just got to stop and just do it now, but the world we live in, everything's expensive. You got to be able to pay for yourself at some point. So being able to, it's okay to have a full-time job and work on your dream after you get home from work, and you put in the work, eventually it can turn into what Johnny has done. So I think that's just a good thing, a good like lesson, a good story for people to hear. Is like, hey, I can do it that way. It's not, you don't have to listen to the TikToks or the Instagram posts where people are like, oh, I just gave up and I just went head first, and then 99% of the time it's a failure. Yeah, I know. I just like the way you approached it is the smart way to do it.
Yeah, like I appreciate that, man. It was definitely unforeseen. I didn't think, like I said, when I dropped that first shoe, I thought it was just gonna flop, and the fact that it sold out in 3 minutes, I was just like blown away. I think that's where it was like the key that like, or the light switch that came on in my head. I was like, oh my god, people actually want to support me. And I think honestly, timing was so much of it in a way where it was like, it really was. I think it was May of 2020.
Okay.
COVID hit March of 2020. Stimulus checks started coming at the beginning of May 2020. And like, I think that's where it was really like this, everyone was home from work. Everyone was on lives. Everyone was getting stimulus checks. Most people were getting paid 3-4 times the amount of what they were normally used to making just to stay home. And I think a lot of people had disposable income. And then, I just dropped at the right time. And, I was able to just let it steam.
Stars align, man.
And then it just, I think when timing, what was it? When preparation meets opportunity.
There you go.
It was like everything just kind of perfectly lined up for me. But definitely didn't foresee it happening. But then I almost kind of jumped at my chance. I think they say like life presents you with opportunities, and it's just whether or not you're ready for them at the time is when you need to take them. And most people kind of shy away from the moment. Yeah. Or like they come up with some kind of roadblock to like keep themselves from like going past it in a way. Yeah. But it's just like, if I didn't take it at that time, I don't know if I'd still, like, if I'd be here. Period. That's awesome. So, it was just a blessing. And like I said, I just get to live a dream every day, but being able to redefine it. And then I think the goal in the future is to give so many more people an opportunity. Like, there's so many people out here doing amazing things that I'm huge fans of. And I'm like, if I could take my kind of like everything that I know and all of my kind of connections, especially with the 3D printed stuff, I think this is where it's going to like open a lot of doors for a lot of people to like have like a light click in their heads where it's like, oh, okay, this guy he just gave me an opportunity to have my own shoe. Now maybe I need to hire a 3D designer to then like create my own shoe, and then like start giving other people an opportunity to create. And then maybe that leads into other product like clothing or hats or whatever it might be, to being like, I just found my creative niche or something like that, and now I would push it forward. So. Hey, man,
I love the way you think about that, because it's not just like a take. It's like, hey, you know what? I want to reach out and bring the next person up to like help them. And I think that a lot of times we're missing that, and that idea is amazing, man. Like, so being able to have the idea is like, you know what? Eventually I want to be able to help the smaller creator just like I was helped. So I love it, man.
For me, I've designed for every single brand.
Yeah.
And I've never gotten an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the big thing. It's like I so many people on just look at my comments on Instagram, like, why isn't Nike hired you? Why isn't like this company done something? Why isn't this company done something? And so having like smaller brands, like again, like Von Grok or Palm Angels or something like that, which I guess aren't necessarily super small brands, but it's like not the big behemoths that we're used to sneaker culture, like getting an opportunity. I also understand so many other people work really, really hard and never get an opportunity. And so it's like, if I can create a brand, I want to pay it back tenfold with all the people that I've seen for the last 10 years really grinding out, being like, and they're not really doing it for the payoff, really. They're doing it because, again, they love it just like me. But it's also like they've built an audience. They've built an organic audience that believe in them. And it's like they've just never had the opportunity to be able to get an opportunity like this. And so for me, I'm like, you're kind of like a perfect candidate in my eyes. Because I don't have to appease a board member or something like that. We're saying like they don't have enough of a following, or they're not a huge celebrity, or this, that, and the other. It's like, I don't need to make 1 million units. So if I can sell 3 units and connect with a friend of mine that just has been grinding, like that's good enough for me. Like at least I can just expand the creative web in a way. I
love it, man. That's awesome. Well, shoot, man. Now that's perfect, and I hope again everybody listening to that can understand that and appreciate that, because that is just how it should be. It's like, you know what? These big companies, you maybe get lucky, but is like a needle in a haystack sometimes. But being able to say, you know what, I've done enough where I can help those around me. That's how it should be. When we talk about sneaker community, which is still like a conversation that pops up all the time, this is a true meaning of like community when it comes to sneakers, being able to help the next man up, next woman up, whoever it may be, to help. Maybe, like I say, maybe they sell 1 million units, maybe they sell 3 units, but they got to live a dream and do something that was special to them. So I think that's amazing, man.
I wouldn't be here without the sneaker customization community, man. If it wasn't for all of them, I wouldn't be here. I think that's where it's like, I test my entire career to every customizer that ever turned one of my concepts into reality. I literally wouldn't be here, which is like, I mean, I just thank people. It's like, we're people helping people every day to get better every day. And so it's like, for
how
me,
it should be, man.
I thank the people that gave me an opportunity to create something that like I created, but they were able to turn it into like the best form.
Heck yeah, man.
Like that. So we talk about community a lot, but it's like, I mean, we're all just people trying to, connect with amazing people, trying to do cool things.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Well, shoot, John, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. Your story itself is amazing. What you're doing is amazing. And if you guys have not followed Johnny's Kicks. Wait, no, I said that wrong. See, look, I'm
No, you said it right.
I did. Okay, John, I don't know why I thought. So Johnny's Kicks, I thought it was an underscore or something. That's what I was like, well, did I say that right? So follow Johnny's Kicks. We'll make sure, of course, all his information is in the bio of the episode so you guys can catch up with them. And, man, John, again, just good luck with all the continued stuff. I know you're going to come up with some crazy, awesome things out there. Your story and what you're doing is just fantastic, dude. So I really appreciate you taking the time, because, Lord, I didn't think you would actually, like, hearing what you do. I don't know how you broke away for even 45 minutes. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, dude. No, honestly, I appreciate you. Again, it's like, I just love talking about shoes. I love shoes. I can talk about it all day long. So I appreciate you just giving me the platform, honestly.
Yeah.
Just doing what you're doing. I really appreciate everything. Like, again, you're highlighting artists, you're highlighting creatives, you're highlighting sneaker members in the sneaker community. I'm an avid watcher. So, it's cool to, just be able to say that I was on it. So,
man, I appreciate that. So, hey, you guys go follow Johnny. Look at all his endeavors. He's creating some great stuff. If you loving the 3D printed shoes, or maybe you weren't sure about it until you heard the episode, go try them out. I'm a testament to say they actually are cooler than I thought they would ever be with the pair I tried. Now I need to try Johnny's pair as well. So we want to make sure you guys can just do something new in the sneaker community, because what he's doing is bringing excitement back to, what can get a little stale sometimes. Check him out and make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Follow Johnny. Hit the follow button for everybody. And until next time, guys, see ya.
Hey, y'all. Nick here. One more thing before you take off. Do us a solid and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Check the links in the description to help us keep the show going. And as always, we appreciate you listening. And don't forget to tell someone you like their kicks today. You never know how far a compliment will take you, and we all know how good it feels to be on the receiving end of some appreciation. Peace.